Commission, and the project manager is Engineer Chimwemwe Matemba, who is with us here. And then we have Marin. We're going to hear more about Marin, because this is the institution that distributes internet universities in Malawi, and their CEO is Solomon Dindi, who is here. And of course, the end consumer of this service is the student on campus. So we have a representative here from University of Malawi, who is the speaker of the student union at University of Malawi, Pempo Campini, who is a third-year student in computer and networking engineering. So I welcome you all to this panel discussion. As I mentioned earlier on, the theme is interconnectivity for enhanced teaching and learning in Malawi. And why this theme? It's because we want to look at what have been the challenges related to internet on campuses in universities. And then we want to see what has been done so far to solve these problems. And then thirdly, we want to draw some of the lessons so that we can get better and better with time. And therefore, to start, I would like to ask our two Vice Chancellors, so Professor Chris Malata, in your opinion, how has internet shaped teaching and learning globally, but also share with us how Malawi has been faring with reference to your own institution, which is MAST.
Thank you very much, Moderator. I think that's a very interesting question, and I think COVID-19 has exposed the world to issues of interconnectivity. And I think we all know that Malawi has not been spared from COVID-19. Access to higher education has been affected. And of course, we found ourselves at a time when students were not on campus. And I think nearly all schools in Malawi were closed. How do you teach students? So we needed internet services. And I want to talk about MAST, that what we did as an institution is to ensure that we do a mapping of where our students were. And we found that our students were in different parts of Malawi. Some areas of Malawi have internet, other areas don't have internet. But beyond that is the issue of language and also access in terms of cost. We also found that even when there was internet availability, students did not have gadgets. Not all students had gadgets. So we did an assessment. We found that perhaps I would say only 20% of the students had gadgets. And so what we did was to look at opportunities for making sure that students have access through getting gadgets, but at the same time we also had to talk to internet providers in Malawi, TNM, Airtel, and look at costing. And so I would think perhaps we tried our best under the circumstances of COVID-19.
Wonderful. It's interesting how you've related the challenges with COVID and how internet helped you, and we'll discuss that more in depth later on. Professor Saka, how about Mzuzu University? First of all, share with us how you think internet is enabling teaching and learning globally, but also we are not like the West, but what are we doing at Mzoni in this regard?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. We, as Mzuzu University, we are a dual institution where we have face-to-face students as well as open distance and e-learning students as well. And therefore, for the latter, indeed, we have 4 SATA centers across the country. And from Mzuzu campus, we are able to reach out appropriately. So that category of students were appropriately supported. But meanwhile, the face-to-face students for whom we have depended largely on delivering in a classroom and so forth, when the COVID-19 came in, it constituted a major challenge. And therefore, it was a reawakening for us that we needed to do business differently. And therefore, we sat down as a community and decided on how we could exploit our Center for Open and Distance E-Learning, which is well capacitated, and therefore through that window we are able to map where the students are across the country, as my sister VC has said, and then on the basis of that began now to undertake training for amongst the academic staff so that they can become more competent in indeed developing appropriate materials for the learning management system which the Cordia Center houses. So we moved on appropriately, and interestingly, we found that there was a unique opportunity to exploit learning management information system, not only for all the students, but even those who sit in a normal classroom setting. Thank you.
It's interesting you have alluded to teaching not only the students to learn online, but the professors themselves also had now to go back in class to learn how to teach online. Very, very interesting insight there indeed. We've heard from the Vice Chancellors some of the challenges some of the students face at Mzuni as well as MAST. Now, practically, you as a student, what did you see as some of the challenges that you students have been facing with regard to internet and services like that? We have been facing a lot of challenges as students during the time of the pandemic, since other students, they stay in campus and others, they stay outside the campus. So this internet connectivity was accessible in some places, and since at Chancellor College you have the Ejulom, where other students they were using the Ejulom inside the campus. Since the internet to us, it's the home of knowledge, and most of the students, we are using this internet to get wider during this time of pandemic. Since we are given books to study, we are taking it as a platform to download the books and to enhance our knowledges. So there was a problem that some other students were ambushed, some other students were marked because they are coming from Chikanda area where they reside to campus in order to access the internet. So that was the thing. Solomon, you are CEO of Marine. Maybe for the sake of our viewers, explain what is Marine, and in this issue we're hearing from the universities, vice chancellors, the students, what's your role as Marine? What are you trying to help the universities as Marine? So what is Marine?
I'm glad that the question has come through, because a lot of people have asked, what is Marine? What is the role? Are we a research institution? So my answer is quite basic. Of course, I will try to give as many details as I can. So Marine is following a model called an NREN, or a National Research and Education Network. Our colleagues elsewhere saw quite early, maybe 30, 40 years ago, they realized that if academic institutions are to achieve what they need to achieve, they need to be interconnected. So they don't have to rely on commercial providers if they are to achieve what they want to do. So in that regard, our colleagues formed what are called National Research and Education Networks, which are, I would define them as specialized internet service providers, but of course I would want to say they are more than internet service providers. So they do provide internet to higher education and research institutions, but on top of that, they need to provide other services which are beneficial to the research and education community. Now, in the case of Marine, we are that National Research and Education Network for Malawi. So our job and our role, as far as universities and research institutions are concerned, is that we should be able to provide interconnectivity to these institutions, and then once connectivity is provided, we should be able to work on digital platforms that would help them to achieve what they're supposed to do. Mind you, higher education and research have key roles. Mostly is to do teaching, learning, and do research. Why should they be wasting their time trying to look for better providers and better service providers in terms of digital technologies? So we sit there to provide that. Let them not sweat about who to provide services to them. We provide the package for those institutions.
Very interesting. So now I think our viewers out there would have a question to say, okay, why should universities come to Marine? Why should they not go to the commercial internet service providers? Why exactly should they come to you?
Well, as I tried to explain, we do provide more than connectivity, which is quite critical. We do understand as an NREN what universities need in order for them to achieve their mandate. So, for example, despite providing connectivity, we should be able to provide value-added services, which I know Pempo might have talked about. EduRoam, for example, it's a service that allows students and staff to roam freely across the globe. So if a student is from Malawi, they find themselves in Kenya, they should be able to use the same connectivity they were using at their home campus and be able to access the internet and whatever resources they want to access. So that service cannot be provided by any commercial provider. So as an NREN, we do provide special services that are specific to higher education and research. That's why I would say it's important that investors should and must connect through the NREN, and in this case, Marine in Malawi.
But maybe beyond that, you know, in the end, we all talk money. Let's talk money now. So in terms of money, are you better than the commercial providers, or are you worse, or like them? Because people in Malawi, let's face it, people in Malawi complain about prices of internet in Malawi. Are you better? Are you any better?
Well,
Our rates, I would say, we don't charge in order to make a profit. We are not for profit, number one. Number two, the institution that formed Marin, basically it was University of Malawi and Mzuzu University way back around 2007. When MAST came in, they realized that, well, we just need to be part of the family. So they came on board, including Rwanda, they came on board. So they set the agenda. They say, well, this is what we want as universities. Vice chancellors sit in the board of Marin. They make the decision in terms of the direction that Marin needs to take. So in that case, as we're coming up with prices for internet and other services, they do understand that is something that they should be able to afford.
Let's turn to Mr. Matemba from the Public-Private Partnership Commission. We have all heard about the Digital Malawi project. I'm sure that our viewers out there are wondering, what is this Digital Malawi project? And maybe in very simple terms, in simple English, because we're talking digital, fiber, all these, but let's simplify it. What is this Digital Malawi project? And in this issue of the interconnectivity and internet, what is your role as Digital Malawi project?
Thank you very much, Dr. Ntumbuka. In brief, the Digital Malawi project is an undertaking of the government of Malawi with the support of the World Bank for the purposes of addressing what you have all panels here have called an enabler. So it has been acknowledged in this panel that internet, for example, is an enabler in terms of the provision of education services by the institutions of higher learning in Malawi. But I'm sure it will not be difficult to leap from there to the fact that the same internet is also an enabler in terms of all the sectors in the country, not only in Malawi, but globally. So to address the challenges that the economy was facing in terms of various ICT products and services, as I mentioned, the two institutions, the government of Malawi and the World Bank, sat together and come up with this project. It has two broad objectives. The first one is to do with connectivity, which is internet, and the objectives are to actually spread the availability, the affordability, as well as the quality of internet and the various connectivity services to all of us in this country, including, of course, universities, government, private sectors, and students. The second broad objective is to provide a platform for government, for it to launch e-services. So for government to have a presence in terms of the internet, for people to be able to obtain government services through the internet, there are some activities that need to be undertaken, some infrastructure that needs to be provided, and this is what the project is doing. Now the broader objectives, two in number, are then spread out to three components, and each of those three components has in expansion three other subcomponents. So we are talking about a total of 9 subcomponents for the broad objectives that I just mentioned. In the interest of time, and given that the current forum is for institutions of higher learning and Marin, I will just go quickly through the 9 subcomponents. So the first 2 are to do with institutions that provide various services such as regulation to the ICT sector. And the reason these institutions have been targeted is because there is a recognition that for the citizenry as well as institutions in Malawi to enjoy good services, you need strong institutions such as regulation and the like. So there is quite a large number of support that is being provided in this area, and it includes, for example, the drafting of data protection legislation, which is a piece of legislation that look at protecting our various details, personal data that is in the custody of various institutions in the country. As I indicated, let me not go into too much details. The other subcomponent is to do with the provision of specialized digital skills and innovation to youth. And these skills are specialized in the sense that they are not obtained through the formal education system. So if you talk about short courses in web development, short courses in cybersecurity aspects, short courses in graphics design, short courses in digital marketing, these are what we're talking about. So the innovation aspect is the aspect about incubation of youth entrepreneurship amongst the tech hubs in Malawi, for actually to ensure that the youth, instead of waiting to be taken in by other job providers, by formal employment, they themselves can create their own employment through entrepreneurship. So that's the other aspect.
Maybe before you go to the other one, on a lighter note, are you not being discriminated to the old? Because let's face it, in terms of digital, the youth already know more about Excel, PowerPoint. I thought it's the older people who struggle with digital. So maybe just to throw a little spanners in the works, don't you think you should also educate the older people?
Good question. But as I've just indicated, these are just a brief. So under the same item of the youth, we also have what we are calling mass digital literacy. So this is targeting everybody. Right. So everybody has to know how to log in to the internet. Everybody has to know how to operate an email account. Everybody has to know how to operate an ATM. Everybody has to know how to obtain various information that we have in the country online.
But maybe, so out of the 9, you can just mention 2 or 3 flagship ones. What are the 2 or 3 big ones?
So the big ones, I think for the purposes of the current discussion, let me say Marine is quite big. And under Marine, we are doing 3 broad activities. So the first activity was to resuscitate or to restart the Marine Secretariat. The second objective in that line was to procure various connectivity services to Marine, so that the services can then be offered to its membership by Marine, of course at a fee as has been indicated. And the third is to provide instruments that are required for the sustainability of Marine. So these instruments include a new constitution, these instruments include an accounting manual, and other activities such as training, campus Wi-Fi, and so on and so forth. In terms of money, because viewers out there would want to know how big is this project. So one way to know, you've mentioned 9 components, but in terms of money, how much money is spending this project totally? In total, the budget for the project for the whole components is $72.4 million US dollars. It started in 2017, and it's supposed to finish in 2022. But as you can imagine, some of the activities that we're undertaking take more than 5 years to actually start, do studies, procure someone to provide the services, and then have at the end of the day some period to observe liabilities and defects and warranties. So it takes a bit more than 5 years. Because of that, we are written to the World Bank, the government of Malawi, that is, to request for an extension from 2022 to either 2023 in December or 2024 in May.
So in kwacha is roughly 65 billion kwacha?
Roughly is 50. It used to be 55 billion, but
quite big, quite big. Thank you. Let's now turn back to COVID, because I think COVID and internet, it seems they are cousins now. And I'll start with, again, ladies first, Professor Malata. We heard from your brother, Vice Chancellor Mzuni, talking about one of the challenges they face, where the professors had to be taught how to teach online. One, did you have that challenge as well at MAST? And secondly, did you have to change curriculum or the same curriculum? Any issues to do with the ability of the professors to teach online? Any issues to deal with the curriculum during COVID at all?
Thank you very much, moderator, and allow me to perhaps step back and explain the process that we went through. So 2019 December, MAST was already running in preparation because we knew COVID-19 had already started and the effects were known. So what we did was to set up a task force within our institution. The task force, as I said earlier on, did an assessment among staff and also among students. We wanted to know issues of digital skills, as I said earlier on, equipment, and of course we knew we had to customize our curriculum because MAST is 6 years old. We had planned within our strategic plan that at least by now would start online teaching and learning, actually offering programs. Initially with a Shima project under USAID, we started with short courses. But that meant that we needed to get back our staff to understand that we had to do business differently. So that meant that we had to capacitate our staff. So this special task force, we took individuals that were very experienced. They had been in other universities abroad, so we were very lucky that they were on campus and they were willing to help other faculty members, and also to ensure that we customize our information and curriculum. So that process had to go through. So before we went to our students, that process had already started. And as I said earlier on, we also had to go out, look at what was available, where the students were. So as far as Ntalile, as far as Chikwawa, what was available, what was in Koma. So I think the idea of doing all this was to make sure that we get a buy-in. We also asked the students about their own digital skills. And of course, what they felt were their gaps.
Yeah.
And so they gave us information. So we put that together, and that's when we rolled out. Actually, we were the first institution to run on blended learning, because we knew that if we don't do anything, our students were going to delay in terms of the implementation of the curriculum. So I want to mention two issues here. Acceptability. Many times, even in advanced countries, and I've been on many panels where people are discussing that do people accept online teaching and learning? There's always a challenge. So in any institution, there will be faculty that are running, professors and lecturers that are happy to do it, but there will be others that are slower to adapt. And I think we should accept, because in any setting, there will always be individuals that will run and those others that will be behind. But what we've done is to make sure that we bring everybody on board. So the task force has been continuously, engaging staff, engaging students, because students too have had an attitude, negative attitude, because they think they need to be on campus. But even when we had so many cases of COVID-19 all over Malawi, you couldn't bring students on campus. So you have to get a buy-in from students. So we use their leadership. So I'm happy we have a student here. We got actually the union representatives on board. They were part of the process of making sure that we get every student on board. It's been a trajectory. And I must say, a lot of successes to celebrate, and I want to appreciate members of staff at MUST. I saw resilience, I saw commitment, but of course I also want to say thank you to students, because students also did their part. There have been challenges, as I've said, but I think we're all going to go through this together. But whether we like it or not, online teaching and learning is here to stay. And because we don't know what's going to happen next, we don't know whether there's another variant, we don't know whether there's another outbreak of another problem. So I do think the idea is, let's get people on board, let's get a buy-in. Digital skills, digital economy, digital divide are issues that need to be discussed, because many students that will say that they have no gadget, sometimes they actually say the truth. And I know that other times people will be saying, no, the students have good gadgets, we see them with cell phones. But I think let's be realistic. I personally believe that every Malawian student should have a laptop moving forward, because that's what can make them at least access every type of teaching and learning using online models. I also want to say, moderator, that even when we brought students on campus, we had to use blended learning, because we couldn't bring students into one hall together, too many of them. And then we had outbreaks twice, even when students were on campus. So we had to go online again while students were on campus. So I go back to the issue of equipment. Equipment, internet access. And I know Maren, I've been on Maren, because I think for MUST, we haven't had the best service. And I think I need to be very open here, because my colleagues at MUST will be saying, but internet is down every other week. So I want to be open. But I want to thank Maren, because they are running, they're trying to resolve the problems. Come October, when students are back or students are at home, we want to ensure that we have better connectivity, not only for students, but also for our own staff members. And I want to finally say, moderator, the cost. There has to be investment. And I think more investment than what has happened this far. And so thank you to World Bank for supporting this initiative. But I do believe as a country we can do better. We need to make sure that there's access, because access is critical. Malawians out there are expecting a better access into higher education, because the advantage of online teaching, you can have more students. And so I believe moving forward, MUST can introduce more programs, because we're using module platform. Students can be at home, start a program at home, and even finish a whole semester. They don't have to come on campus. But you can only do that if you have actually a very good or quality service. So for me, another emphasis is quality. It's not just saying we're doing this least we're doing that, but is it of quality? And I know that it's not only for Malawi, but Africa is struggling. Even those countries, high-income countries, struggle. But I do think as a country, we need to invest more. Digital skills are important, and it has to be continuous. Otherwise, if you do training once and then you think everybody knows it, I mean, there are always things that are changing, even with Zoom and other, services that we're using. You see a lot of changes that are happening, and we need to run and be at the same level, because at the moment, you can have students in Mozambique, postgraduate students in South Africa. They should be able to access their education here. They don't have to come to Malawi. Advantage of online teaching and learning is that you increase numbers of students. We've not been able to get as many students this year, only 6,000 selected, many have been left. If we had many online programs, we would have gotten more students. My final plea is to public sector, private sector, is invest more in these type of skills, invest more in equipment, because we can get many students, many Malawian students that are out there that were not able to come to our universities to undergo or to undertake face-to-face teaching programs.
Wonderful. Thank you. So you're saying investment, investment, investment. I think we'll come to Marin to tell us what they're doing about your connectivity at MAST in a short while. But before that, over to you, Professor Kalenga-Saka. Some of the things we hear about challenges on online teaching and learning are plagiarism, examinations. Universities don't know how to examine students online. Did you also face challenges with examinations and plagiarism?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I would say, as we speak, not to what we know now, because interestingly, the examination continues to be administered face-to-face. We have 4 satellite centers in Mulanje, Balaka, Lilongwe, and Karonga. For the audio students, we require that we're able to be present and administer and monitor the administration. However, in the coming years, given the capacity and the capability of our coding center, we would like to go through there, because this is obtaining across the world. Our sister country, Tanzania, they have got the Open University of Tanzania. They administer exams electronically. And amazingly, in their experiences, it's very, very limited in terms of plagiarism amongst our student community. However, that's an important area which we need to guard against, because indeed with increased digital literacy, and also those of our students, even if they are not pursuing computer science. I remember there was a case in Zomba where an asked person pursuing English was able to go into the system and access an examination from mathematics and shared to fellow students, which is very, very strong. So we need to be very, very, very vigilant in that regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And that takes us to Marin. So maybe a number of questions for you, but you'll be brief, I know. One is what Professor Kalenga-Saka has mentioned, that they circumvented the problem of examinations by doing the race online and then take their students to specific centers where they would physically sit for examinations, and plagiarism issues. What's the role of Marin in COVID? What have you done? And also the challenges that the 2 vice chancellors are putting on the table there, what are you doing? And then thirdly, the specific concern from MAST, what are you doing about it? Over to you, Solomon Dinti.
Okay, thank you, moderator. You take note that when we had the first wave of COVID, at that point, Marin was not fully operational in terms of provision of data services. However, I think by November last year, we had started operating in test mode, and we did go full throttle January this year. So the main aspect where we have really contributed has been from January, where we have connected a number of institutions, providing better capacity. I know institutions used to get, if I remember off my head, some getting 55 megabits per second of capacity, but most of them have increased by 4-fold, some getting 200, some as of today getting 300 megabits per second of internet traffic, which for us is a big improvement. I know elsewhere, even technical people in Malawi have tried to question to say, how do you manage to give 300 Mbps to an institution? We think this is too much, but as Marin, we think this is not too much. Actually, it's way less than what is expected, because looking at the current trends and recommendations in terms of data for universities, we need even more than that. I'll give an example of University of Malawi, where they have about 6,000 students. Currently, they're getting 300, and yet the minimum requirement for that student population is 1,200. So they are getting just 25% what they're supposed to get. So as Marin, we need to put in all efforts to make sure that the institution is able to get as much as possible. So the same applies for most of the investors. MAST is here, Muzuni. It's a similar arrangement where they are getting less than what they're supposed to get. But overall, I think under the Digital Money Project, I would say we have made great strides in moving the institutions from the meager bandwidth they used to get versus what they're able to get currently. Now, looking at specific issues, the first part, maybe I would talk about the issue at MAST. Yes, I know, as I indicated, Marin has just become operational. Now, in any situation, we always get teething problems. So I take it that MAST issue is one of the teething problems. I know it's the only institution that we have had major challenges with, especially because of fiber cuts between Limbi and Cholo. So in most cases, every week, and one case I still remember, it took about 17 hours for the fiber cable to be restored. Imagine an investor being down for 17 hours is way a big loss. So we are doing our best, because now that cable is going to be rerouted. We have talked to colleagues in ESCOM to make sure that we go overhead. You know, it's quite difficult to vandalize cables over ESCOM fiber cables, over ESCOM poles. So we have negotiated with them, and we are proceeding with that solution. So we expect that once this is done, then issues of vandalism will go to almost zero, in which case the service to MAST is going to be quite stable. So, Vice Chancellor, I can assure you, within the next few weeks, we should have a very stable service to MAST. I know they have been the client who has complained the most, and they have had the biggest problems in terms of access to the internet. But as soon as this is sorted out, I think it's going to be an issue of the past. So coincidentally, our international capacity is quite stable. Again, since we're in test mode, we have had some challenges here and there, but these have not been major. So the major for MAST has been the fiber cuts, but soon this will be an issue of the past. Now, dealing with, I think, the issues raised by the Vice Chancellor Muzuni, especially on issues of people taking exams online. I think, as I said, as an NREN, we go beyond connectivity. Having learned lessons from other NRENs, I know elsewhere issues of plagiarism, it's the NREN that handles those issues, because we take issues of economies of scale. So go into the providers of plagiarism software like Tenitin, we'll bring in all the investors, we'll say, well, in Malawi we have a student population of maybe 100,000. Can you give us access to this system? And then we're bringing this population of students. Obviously, it becomes cheaper because we're going to use economies of scale, and the investors are going to benefit. It's the same issue with online exams. I know investors like in India, they do administer exams, even a student seated in Malawi, and there are software systems that do all those things. So as an NRN, our job is to go beyond connectivity. Those are some of the issues we're thinking about, especially when we get them from the horse's mouth, investors talking about them. We think it's time we can start giving solutions that address such specific issues. So we have taken it positively, for that matter. Learning from other NRENs is our responsibility to provide services that are enhancing teaching and learning in Malawi. So we'll take that on board and plan accordingly. Thank you.
Wonderful. This panel has helped us to really share ideas, and we're already finding solutions for some of the problems that are being put on the table. A reminder to our viewers, this is a special panel discussion on interconnectivity for enhanced teaching and learning in Malawi, where we're looking at what have been the challenges in terms of internet at university campuses, what has been done so far by different players, and much more importantly, what are the lessons that we can draw for the future. And now, going on towards winding up, I'd like to talk to Mr. Matemba from Pppc. The question we have is sustainability beyond the World Bank project. Do you see Malawi as a country investing further beyond the World Bank project? How can we be sustainable in this space?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I would like to answer your question in two parts. The first one is, how do we sustain what we have already put on ground? So this one should be used or seen as a seed. It should be seen as a startup. In terms of us meeting the requirements for our students in Malawi, we are talking about enormous investment. There is an assessment that was done that in Malawi we have close to 6 million people who are in one form of education or the other. This is also tallies with the fact that about 45.5% of our population is 15 years or less. So this translates to an enormous amount of people who are actually studying. And for you to provide a reasonable bandwidth to each of these 6 million people, you would require, at least in terms of the current standards that were set by the Federal Communications Commission, you would require at least at a minimum of 2 million units. Because the standard now that they are using in America would require 6 million units. So a unit here is defined as 1 megabit per second per student. So for 6 million, then you require 6 million units. And we are way, way, way off that. So for us actually to make any traction, the first point we have to agree on, the first consensus has to be we need to invest. The Marine initiative has to be seen in that light, to say this is just a startup, this is just a seed. Other operators, other stakeholders that are active in this area need to come into the party. The other aspect that we also require in this regard is actually for us in the public sector to get together and ensure that we don't replicate or we don't duplicate or we don't frustrate activities that have been done by the various projects. But these projects must speak to each other, must complement each other. That way we will sustain what we have started.
Now let's say here the student, because you are the center of all this. You are the end beneficiary. You've heard Mr. Matemba, the engineer Matemba, is saying they need so many huge units per student. One, is it true that you are using those huge units not for learning but watching movies? From your experience, be honest here. The professors are here and your parents are watching out there.
All right, thank you. To my understanding, previously that was the case, but apparently due to the pandemic, students are adapting ways of using the internet so that they should excel in their studies. So you can understand that it's not only that on the maybe WhatsApp group they'll be discussing like jokes or whatsoever. They interact on things like that can even help a student to achieve some other things. I can give you an example of students nowadays. They are creating other platforms where they can be teaching each other on how can you learn machine language easily. If we talk about the accessibility of another connections, it's like a student nowadays in focusing on achieving a lot of things in their study areas. At the end of the day, what they do is to search more onto that on their researches, and we are also using the internet as our library, where we are taking our knowledge, where we are making so many references. Each and every day we keep on boosting up so that we should keep on feeding ourselves more information so that should be knowledgeable and we should be impacting to the world. So it's not that we are using it long. That's not that bad.
I understand that, Pempo, but also I'm taking note of the fact that you are the speaker of the Students' Union. So you are a student politician. So obviously you're speaking to your constituents, you know they're watching out there. But now, honestly, are there some who abuse the internet? And if so, you as a student leader, what are you doing about that? All right. But there's always bad apples, right?
Yeah, I understand, and this is not political in nature, but I'm just trying to give the information that is light, that nowadays students, we don't feel good when we just go home when they say we are closed due to the pandemic. We are trying to adapt to the online learning. We know there are some other concepts, we cannot just get them easy. We have to Google, we have to search for information, right. So we cannot just be on the internet and searching something that is irrelevant.
So, you're speaking with very good passion, and the two vice chancellors here, they're hearing. I'm sure vice chancellors are hearing what I'm hearing. The students don't want to be home.
I agree with what the speaker to UNIMA is saying, because interestingly, beyond that, our own integrated information management system, and also informed by the ICT policies for our universities, we have systems to prevent students accessing any type of cheat on the internet. And once we continue to monitor that, unless they have other accesses, but otherwise
you block them.
We should be able to block them. And that's why we have very strong directorate of ICT to help us to making sure that we eliminate those.
Wonderful.
But also that if they have resources to access internet, one must look at the value addition to the investment. Otherwise, they will be lost, left behind. And once they fail, those movies will never be able.
So I want to follow up on what Pempo has said. What I think has happened with COVID-19, students are also very innovative. And I think something that he has mentioned about the way they are looking for information, self-directed learning. And I think it's high time we all adapt.
Yeah.
So students must adapt, staff must adapt, the whole country must adapt, the world must adapt.
Wonderful.
And I think that innovative spirit is what we want to see. I think ability to say, okay, let's use WhatsApp. So students can discuss on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Let's use this other, Twitter,
Right.
or all these in avenues. So I think we should exploit these opportunities and also give space to our students to give us feedback, because they may have actually better ideas.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to start giving them opportunities to say, how best can you learn? I must say that we noted at MAST that last year's results were better. And actually the students that graduated did much
Wow.
better, and some of them have picked very good jobs.
So we need more
And so
coverage.
yet they had to do but to me what I'm trying to say is that I think adaptation is key, and I think let's give these young people an opportunity to exploit their skills, but also to encourage older generation. All of us have to have digital literacy.
Wonderful.
Because I think we shouldn't just be pushing it to the young people.
Yeah.
We also have to adapt. I mean, if they are communicating on Twitter, you have to respond on Twitter. And so have a Twitter handle, and have had to learn these things, because I know the world has changed, that the world is digital now. And I think let's use these opportunities, and to commend young people that have taken this opportunity even to do business. And I think adaptation, I think we should not always dwell on the negative. Let's look at what's good that has come out of COVID-19, innovation.
Wonderful.
And I think we know that, particularly at MAST, most of our innovative ideas were created by students.
Wonderful.
And have applications and all sorts of things.
Good to hear that.
Thank you.
I wish we had plenty of time in the world to continue going on and on, but I think like everything else, like every good thing comes to an end. In summary, each one of you have 2 minutes. Let's start with the man at the center of everything here, the student. Pempo Gampini, in 2 minutes, what do you want to say to the world there about what we discussed here?
We all understand that internet is accessible in some places, but not all places. So as students, most of the times we access internet when we are at school. So when we go home, we just stay there. What if we also have some other places, maybe near our homes or what, maybe there also we call the Ejulom that we are benefiting at Chancellor College, so that maybe we should be enhancing our skills, and we should be enhancing our knowledge, because the moment we are at school, we are focused much on the school activities, but at home we can be searching for other things that at the end of the day we can make a path, and maybe we can also employ our fellow students in another things. Because if I get the information, it means I have to implement it. But when we're at school, I'll just maybe focus on, let me just Google what this book is saying about that literacy. But when we are at home, it's hard for us to find money to buy internet bundles. What if also have those places where we can be connected near our homes? Yeah.
So there's more work to do for everyone so that Malawi becomes United States, and I agree with you. Marin, in 2 minutes, what's your summary? In summary for you, what do you say?
Thanks, moderator. For me, I would say Marin has come, and it has come to stay. It won't go anywhere. We work just like any other NREN. Even very developed countries have NRENs. Look at the US, it has internet too there. Joint academic network in the UK, and all these other NRENs across the globe. So Marin has come to stay. We shall provide services as required by this country to the higher education and research communities. Teething problems will be there, but we work to make sure that these go away and our constituents are able to enjoy as much as they can. Beyond connectivity, we shall provide value-added services. We have started piloting now, EduRoam at University of Malawi and at Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences. Students can roam, staff can roam, they can go to anywhere in the globe where there's EduRoam, they'll be able to access online services. Soon, we'll be at MAST. Muzuni, get ready. The rest of the country, get ready. Beyond EduRoam, we're having other services. As of now, we are working with the Alliance and other NRENs in Africa to work on a service called EduGain. With EduGain, the student doesn't have to be on campus in order to access digital resources. The libraries, now in the past I know, it happens even currently. For me to access books, which the investors subscribe to, I have to be physically at my investors network. With EduGain, the story is different. I think that's what we need to be looking at, especially now that we have learned about these issues of COVID, where people don't necessarily have to be on campus. We need better digital services. As Maren, as an NREN, we shall work, we shall put in the effort. Thank you.
Wonderful. Good to hear that Maren is here to stay. Over you to Professor Adres Malata. In summary, what are your last words?
So my last words, moderator, are that if Malawi is going to achieve the Agenda 2063, there has to be an investment in digitalization. And I think the discussion today, illuminates the fact that there's need to improve the services that we are providing at the moment. If we're going to increase access for our young people into higher education institutions, we need more investment. And my message to private sector is please come on board. Do a bit more. I know there has been investment, but I think there should be significant investment because it's not about us. It is about our country. It is about development in this country. And I want to say finally that we are ready to work with any partner. Our members of staff, our students, they are all on board, parents are on board, but also appealing to parents to support initiatives that are on board. I think we still have the thinking that all students should be on campus at one time, but COVID-19 is saying no. You may not have all students on campus at the same time. How do we make sure that teaching and learning continues? We can only achieve that if we have better digital services, because also we should know that if students are at home, they should have good access. You can't just throw students at home and expect them to be actively involved in teaching and learning on the platform. They need to have a better service. And for all these things to happen, there has to be more investments. And I know that World Bank is supporting this initiative, but I do think that we need more partners on board, and government too should make a commitment if Malawi is going to achieve Agenda 2063.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And over to you, Engineer Chimwemwe Matemba, your last words.
So I would like to say edutech, or technology in education, is quite critical in terms of the stage of national development where we find ourselves. We have to improve outcomes in terms of quality, in terms of the numbers that we take in, and in terms of the ranking of our institutions. And for us to do that, digital technology is quite critical in the value chain of these institutions. To this end, I would like to request that all of us support this initiative. It has been funded by the World Bank, but it is a Government of Malawi initiative, and the objective is basically to provide and to ensure that more than now 6 million people, I'm talking about people in secondary, tertiary, primary school, have actually the relevant internet bandwidth. So we have started here at this moment with the institutions of higher learning, and the model that we are following is that Maren are going to procure services on the market, and the services will then be offered to its membership at a cost plus basis. So for every institution that actually subscribes to Maren services, it is helping sustain the ecosystem and to ensure that eventually at some point we will go and reach all the 6 million people. So for us as project managers, we're happy that as I speak to you now, Maren has actually connected up to 34,000 students in 34 campuses throughout Malawi. It's still ongoing, and this is no small matter. You have heard about the capacities which have seen a leap with regard to what was being provided before Maren. But having said that, we still have to undertake this activity and understand that it is a huge momentous undertaking for this nation. But I have faith in this nation. I have faith in the leadership. I have faith in our vice chancellors, Maren CEO, and then our students, that eventually we are going to get to the promised land. Thank you very much.
And over to you, Professor Saka. What is your last words?
No, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I would like just to emphasize that human capital is the key for national development and indeed to realize the vision 2063. And therefore we in the higher investors or institutions must double our efforts. And we commend government for this Digital Malawi project from which we are benefiting. But I also wish to say that another government initiative relates to skills for a vibrant economy, where indeed we must utilize internet services to reach out to many of the youth to access higher education in Malawi, and that it is our commitment to that end. Further, I would like to encourage the private sector to participate in this investment, to provide appropriate investment so that more people are reached, particularly in rural Malawi. Those of us in urban centers, we may be fairly comfortable, but the student community, which will be up in Msuku, even as far as down in Maraka or Gender elsewhere, they should be able to have access. Not only to having access, but within affordable reach in terms of prices and indeed the gadgets which are available on the ground. And therefore, finally, I would like to encourage those of our professionals, engineers, ICT experts to double their effort in coming up with new technologies, because out of that we're able to benefit. I must say that we in the leadership of the university, for example, at Mzuzu University, following the COVID-19, we are able to conduct governance meetings, for council meetings, through virtually. And I think we will continue in that mode, except when we consider probably selection of candidates into the university. Wonderful. So this is a wonderful platform and a wonderful venture, and we encourage the PP Commission, Marian and other partners to move on. Lest I forget, Marian is supporting Mzuzu University in strengthening or building the infrastructure, the ICT fiber network there. Wow. And within short time, I think our students should be, celebrating and including the members of staff. So thank you very much, Mr. Director. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists for a wonderful panel discussion on interconnectivity for enhanced teaching and learning in Malawi. On this panel, we had Professor Grace Malata from MAST. We had Professor John Kalengasaka from Mzuzu University. We also had Engineer Chimwemwe Matemba from Public-Private Partnership Commission, and we also had Solomon Dindi, who is the CEO of Marin, and of course, representing all the students in Malawi, we had the Pempo Campini, who is the speaker of the Students' Union at the University of Malawi. And I would like to also thank you, our viewers, because without you, we would not have had this panel discussion. And so a big thank you so much. From me, your host, Dr. Matthew Mtumbuga, who is CEO of Ubuntu Alliance. Thank you very much.
The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs wishes to inform the general public and all stakeholders that the Ministry